Hello and welcome to Deltaface orthodontic software. Yesterday a new version was launched, so it was necessary to present you this new interface. So there are two versions of the software. This one is for permanent and annual license, the open license. And here we have the version called Deltaface Wallet for with the credit system for usage by case. So here in this interface, when you launch the software, you have to choose which type of work you want to do and choose the thermoforming, and then you arrive here for the identification of the patients. Here in the permanent and annual versions, it's almost the same, but you have to choose the tab here, and then you go in you start the workflow from this button, the aligner assistant. So first I will present the options. So here you have all the possibilities to save your project. I have to say that the project are not saved automatically. You have to save your project to be able to reopen it later. So, and here in the options you can choose the language, the theme. Here you can modify, so when you import a model, here for example, if there are more than 1 million triangles, the software will ask you if you want to refine it. So you can modify this value. Then you can choose the ball size by default and different things, and also important, the teeth numbering, which is different for the US. And you can also choose to send the project if the software crash. I hope it shouldn't happen. And then, okay, I forgot. In the options, you also can choose the folders for the export and the import of the files. And then from here, with the question mark, you can have access. When you click on help, you can access the user guide. It can be very useful. If you click here, for example, aligner assistant, you go directly here. Then you can check the updates. You can see which version you are using currently. And here, if you have access to the technical support, you can send the current project if you need some help for technical questions. And then here you can access to your account if you are connected with internet. So we start the workflow from here. Then at the first step we can identify the patient. Then we can add a comment, we can add a doctor here. Can add a date. So those information will be marked automatically on the PDF report. Then we have to import some files. First, maxilla. So those files can come from intraoral scanner or also desktop scanner. It should be STL format, but we can also accept PLY and OBJ, but without color. So the maxilla and then the mandible. Then here the goal is to reposition the model with the good 3D view, because some scanner can have a 90 degrees difference. So we click here on mandible positioning. On the left image you can see where to place the 3 points. 1, 2 and 3. Here with the right click you can move the model, and here with the shadow we can see that the positioning is fine. If necessary, you can adjust the occlusion plane here. The bite is done, the real occlusion is done by the scanner. Here we can have closer the occlusion plane and the plane from the 3D view. Then we can go next. So here the model is open, so there is no base that was created. So we can use automatic curves like this. They just follow the borders of the model to be able to clean it. Here, for example, there is a red point, so we should remove this red point, modify the curve, and so we can, so for the direct printing of aligners, we can keep this curve. For the thermoforming process, it will be, to save some resin, it would be better to modify the curve and remove the palatal to have a smaller model. You can join one point to another like this. You can create a point just by clicking on the curve, and you can delete a point with a double click on this point. And then you can just cut and close, click on the button, and here we click on the part, we choose the part that we want to keep. So as you can see here we have the model close for the upper arch. Here we could also use the automatic curve. Just to show you how it works, I will use the manual curve. So we can point by point go like this, or we can click on the button and maintain the button. And it creates some points automatically. Here, to join the points, you can use the C button from the keyboard to close the curve. And now you can also click on cut and close. You choose the part that you want to keep, and now we have the dental model ready to continue. We go next. So here the goal is to do the segmentation and the numbering of the teeth. So first we click on select mode. Here we can see that on the model we do not have the third molars, so I will remove them. Then we click again on select mode. Just for you to know, you can also drag the mouse on the arch. You can unselect some teeth like this, but we recommend to do the segmentation for the full arch, because if you don't do the segmentation for one arch, you won't be able to see the contact points between mandible and maxilla later in the software. So I click again on select mode and I start the segmentation from number 37 here, and we place 2 points, mesial and distal, at each corner of the teeth. It's not necessary to be very accurate, but it's better to go at each corner, mesial and distal. So those 2 points are used to do the numbering, the segmentation, but also the positioning of the virtual roots later. So here segmentation is quite fine. As you could see, I placed not so well the 2 points here, so it's a good example to show you how to adjust the segmentation curve. So we double click directly in the 3D view on the teeth, and here we can adjust the curve. We can also go one point to another directly like this to save some time. Okay, it seems fine now. Now we can continue and go next. Here, same thing. We can see that on the model we do not have the second and third molar, so we click on select mode and we can remove the number 17, 27, 18 and 28, and then we click on segmentation to start from the number 16. You can see it's highlighted in green, so it's the tooth, it's where we should start the segmentation. So we place 2 points, mesial and distal, here at each corner. Okay, here the segmentation was pretty good. Here for the interdental spaces it's more complex, so we can also double click from the 3D view or directly from the left image, the number 11, and you can see here the curve that we can modify like this. And when it's fine, have to check. If you did a mistake, you can use the reset mode, and from the left image click on the teeth that you want to reset. Then you click again and click on segmentation, and directly you will restart from the number 24. And that's it. So now we can go to the next step. So right now in the software it is not possible to import the cone bin, the CBCT files, but if the doctor has those files, it's possible to adjust approximately the virtual roots. So here you can see the reference axis of the teeth. When you click on the teeth, it's possible to adjust this reference axis. The red point that you can see here will be the center of the movement during the setup. So when you adjust it here, you will have more accuracy for the teeth movement. And it is possible to modify the size of the roots with this button, so all at the same time, like this, or individually with the arrow. So you click on the arrow when it becomes yellow, you can modify the size of the roots. Now we can go next. We do the same thing for the maxilla. Same thing here, we can modify the size of the roots. And when it's fine, we can go next. So here is the most important step, the setup. So from here you can display some different things. You can see the collisions. We can hide the mandible and work only on the maxilla first. So we could start with a rotation on this molar. So here we can move the teeth directly from the 3D view by using the manipulator. As you can see here, the software created automatically 4 steps for each aligner. We can also use the sequence button to separate the movement. So here, for example, at the same time we could first move this molar. We can add a sequence and then move the premolars. Here when you move a teeth, you can see different distances. So when it's dark, it's only a distance, but when it becomes red, it's a collision. So here this value is a collision with the antagonist arch. We can add another sequence here to be able to move this other teeth. I have to say that I do not have dental skills, so this is just an example to show you how to use the software. There is nothing medical in this presentation. hopefully. So here you can see that there is a collision. There is a IPR system that is visual, so we can here use those two boxes to ask a visual information for the IPR. So here we can put 0.29. To validate the value, we click outside the box here, and here with blue you can see the area that the doctor should remove to be able to do the movement. It's in real time, so this value is calculated where at the current situation. Here you can see the setup and staging timeline. So this is a 3D view that can be used to show the patient the future treatment plan and increase the treatment acceptance. Here you can see all the movements, and those vertical lines are the staging, the sequences. So I will play this video animation. So you can see first teeth moving, then other ones. You can have the occlusal side also. Here. Here you have a button to be able to export a PDF report. I will store it on the desktop. Test 3. I close the window, and if I go on the 3 PDF, so here you can see the patient, different 3D views, and all the different movements. So here we do not have movements. Here we have for the maxilla. Here we find the IPR that we asked, 0.29 millimeters for the mesial side of the number 21. We haven't placed some attachments yet, but it also displayed automatically in this PDF report. Then here we have an important table. So you can see two tables. The first one defines the number of aligners that are created. So you can see all the values for each teeth and each type of movement, and the software will use the maximum value of movement and will divide the total value of the movement by those values per aligner to create the number of aligners. But it's possible to influence the treatment and modify those values. For example, here we could, for the number 18, instead of 1.5 degrees of rotation per aligner, we could ask 2 degrees. It's possible to save new tables, and you can create as many tables as you want. We recommend to modify this table depending on the plastic sheet you are using for the thermoforming or the resin for direct printing. And here for the second table, this is only to create some visual alerts. So these are the maximum values that are recommended. For example, if you do a tip of 11 degrees, the square will be marked in red. So this is only the second table is only for visual alerts. Here you have a button to do the tooth extraction. So you just have to select the teeth, do the tooth extraction, and from here, the options, you can ask for a pontic. You can see it was number 15. So we select here number 15. You click on the plus button, and then you can add a pontic. So when you click on it, you can modify the size. I do that very quickly just to show you how it works. And this pontic reduces for each aligner. Okay, it seems fine more or less. When you use the software, you can always use the undo button. So here you can cancel the last step, the last operation. If you don't want to do tooth extraction, you just go back. Of course, we can also place attachments. So be careful, you should place the attachments at the beginning if you want them to start at the first aligner, or for example here, if you want the attachment to start at step 4, you should place the button here, and then you can place the attachments. So here there is a list of all the attachments available. Well, not those ones, but most of them are by default in the software. But the good thing is that you can import STL files of other type of attachments, so you can design your own attachments and import them in the software. You just have to place them in the good folder in the software and you will find them in this list. So you choose the attachment, you click on the plus button to place it. First to place it, second the rotation. Now it's placed, and now you can click on the attachment to modify the size. In real time you have the measurements of this attachment, so you can modify the size like this, or you can also use the control touch to modify only the size and keep the same shape. You can also modify the thickness of the attachment. No, this is the rotation. Yes, like this, or like this. And you can even use the right click of the mouse if you want to duplicate the attachment and use the exact same attachments for another teeth, like this. With almost the same technique, you can do the numbering of the aligners. So for the thermoforming, we should place it maybe here. For the direct printing, we can place it directly on the last molar, and automatically this number will be modified by the software for each aligner, for each step. We can even add some text. The text doesn't changes with the aligners. Then here, as I said, you can display many things. The mandible, for example, we can use the color map. This is very useful if you need to see the contact points between mandible and maxilla. Here, for example, if I move these teeth, so this is available in real time, so when you do the treatment you can display the color map and see if there are some contact points between mandible and maxilla. On the right there are two 3D views, one for the mandible, one for the maxilla, and you can see here with the color that changed the contact point that I created. You can use this button if you made a mistake during a teeth movement. If you click when the teeth is selected in yellow, you click and go back to the original positioning of the teeth. So I will hide the color map. You can see also the first model. So I hide the mandible. Here with blue transparency you can see the original positioning of the teeth. You can display or hide the collisions, the measurements. Here you have a grid that you can move from here to do some measurements. Well, I think I could explain almost everything. If you have some questions, do not hesitate to contact us. If you are using the technique of direct printing of aligners, here is the same, so you can choose the number of aligners that you want to export. So all the treatment, all the sequences, the different sequences, just one step, or a custom interval if you want, for example, print just 5 aligners. And then here, instead of models, you choose direct aligners and click on export. And then here you have to draw a curve on the mandible. I will go fast, it's just to show you how it works. Then here at the end, to join the curve, you can still use the C button from the keyboard. You place the plot inside the aligner, and then you draw the curve for the maxilla. You have to draw the curves, of course, only for the first aligner, and then the software takes into account the teeth movement to draw the other curves. And again, you place the plot inside the aligner. Now you can choose to add a gap between the teeth, so the model, and the aligner. Here, for example, 0.05 millimeters, so 50 micron. This can prevent the expansion of the resin. And here you can choose the thickness of the aligner itself. So 0.6 millimeters is recommended, maybe 0.5. You can even use the variable thickness technique that is still under research. This is not medically approved yet. And then you just validate. So now the software is checking the curves, and then it will open an extra program that is creating the aligners. We can open the export folder, and here we already have one aligner ready. We can just open it to see how it looks like. So this is the STL file that you can send to the printer. Thank you for watching and have a nice day with Deltaface software.